Or if they are there, then nobody else can see them, right? So he's asked for this. He's said, let the eye wink at the hand. He said, I want to do these things. I want my deeds to be acted before they were scanned, right? So he said, I don't want to know. I don't want to be able to trust my senses. I don't want to know what's going on. And now he's getting what he asked for, isn't he? Now, by the time he gets to Act 5, he's completely gone down the drain. He already can't pray, he can't sleep, he can't take life seriously, he can't trust anybody, he can't reason, he can't trust his own senses. By the time he gets to Act 5, Scene 3, he's completely lonely. He can't find any. He used to have Banquo as his best friend, but now he killed Banquo, so that's not very good. His wife used to be his best friend. He used to write her these letters and tell her everything, but when he decides to kill Banquo, he says, oh, no, be innocent of the knowledge, my dearest Chuck. Be innocent. Be innocent of the knowledge, dearest Chuck. Sounds like Joe Biden. Stand up, Chuck. Dearest Chuck, be innocent, right? So he doesn't even let her in on it. So by this time, he's just completely freaked out. He has nothing. Here's what he says, okay? This is Act 5, Scene 3. My way of life is fallen into the sere, the yellow leaf. And that which should accompany old age, he's not even old, as honor, love, obedience, troops of friends, I must not look to have. But in their stead, curses, not loud but deep, mouth honor, breath which the poor heart would fain deny and dare not. So he has nothing. He's become old before his time. He's like a withered, dried up old leaf. And then, of course, very soon after that, what's her name? Lady Macbeth dies. He hears a hideous scream and she dies. And he just doesn't even care. He's like, well, she would have died hereafter. And he has his famous speech, tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow creeps in this petty pace from day to day. This petty pace. There's just worthless. And he says, life is but a walking shadow, a poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage and then is heard no more. It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. Now, if that isn't a speech of someone who is completely amoral, completely given up hope, sometimes when I read this speech, I think it's something like Hitler must have said just before he shot himself when he was in the bunker, or some old Nazi, just having done these hideous deeds, completely evil. And now he's like, well, what's the point anyway? What the hell? It means nothing. Life's a walking shadow. It's just nothing. He can find nothing in life. His life, his whole being has become like this leaf. Those leaves that you crunch, you step on in the fall, just really destroyed. And by the time we get to Act 5, Scene 7, basically at that point, they're calling him a fiend, they're calling him a devil, they're calling him all these things, a hateful, horrid, terrible person, very unnatural. He has disrupted everything. So we can see very, very plainly what has happened at this point. So the other thing to point out here with the natural-unnatural theme, if you're interested in pursuing that with the witches and people asking to be unnatural, is what are the things that happen that allow Macbeth to be overthrown? First of all, the witches say you don't have to worry about anything till Burnham Wood come to Dunsinane. So until the trees get up and start walking around, you don't have to worry. Now that's pretty darn unnatural, unless you're in some weird Tolkien world. For trees to get up and start walking around, you're like, okay, that's not going to happen. That's unnatural. Trees do not do that. Trees just grow. They just sit in the ground and they grow. That's their nature. So in order to overthrow Macbeth, what you can see is you get to the point where the natural world is so weird, he's weirded it out so much, that that's what's happened. And now the trees seem to be walking around. Secondly, the witches say, what else do they say? They say, don't worry, because no one who is of woman born can ever hurt you. So that seems like everybody, right? Because everybody is born of a woman, right? Natural birth. But then Macduff comes, right? And he's the one who kills Macbeth. And what does he say? He says, I was from my mother's womb untimely ripped. So he was born, by this weird C-section that obviously probably killed his mother. Very unnatural way to be born, right? You're supposed to just come out the normal way, just come right out, But instead somebody just cut open his mother's stomach, just ripped him out, right? Pretty unnatural. So here's this guy who was born really unnaturally, in this really weird way, really weird kind of stuff going on, and he can defeat Macbeth. So now we get to the question of good and evil in Macbeth, and this is a really good question we can ask. And it goes back to why Shakespeare, I think the answer to why Shakespeare made a nice Duncan and a mean Macbeth is because he wanted to address this question, which is, why do good people knowingly choose evil? Why do people deliberately, how does somebody who seems so good, seems like a really good person, suddenly turn into somebody who's really evil? Now, if you have a smarmy, inept King Duncan and a noble, good Macbeth, then you just have kind of a story of some noble person overthrowing a tyrant, like Brutus with the Tarquin or something. I mean, the old Brutus, not the Julius Caesar Brutus. But what we see is, we know the results of Macbeth's actions here. He loses all those human qualities that I just discussed. Lady Macbeth also becomes unnatural. She doesn't want to be a woman. She wants to be some weird man, sort of man woman, without any milk in her breasts. She starts sleepwalking and seeing weird visions. The other thing is, all the natural people, all the kind of nice, normal people, like Banquo and Lady Macduff especially. I mean, look at Lady Macduff. She's a nice, normal woman. She's in her castle. She's with her kids. She's waiting for her husband to come home. She's like a mama hen with her little, chickies there. And what happens to her? Just killed. Just brutally killed. So all the natural people like Lady Macduff get slaughtered. There's all kinds of weird, creepy darkness, weird weather patterns, thunder and lightning, fog, all kinds of stuff. There's also really, really strange stuff if you can find it in the text. There's a part where it says, I heard that some horses devoured each other. I heard some horses... sorry, I'm uncomfortable. Some horses ate each other, and I heard that some falcon was eaten by some creepy little bird, So, but the question is, what do we know about the causes? We know about the effects. We know that, Macbeth has lost all this stuff and everybody's become creepy and everybody who's nice has been killed. How did this happen? It was all the witches' fault. Well, what are the witches? Who are the witches? We come back to this question. Now, here's the thing. This brings me to the Odyssey. Aristotle said, in ancient Greece, that every human being has an aim, has a telos, has some sort of nature and purpose for their life. And people were designed for a particular purpose. Animals were designed for a particular purpose, but they don't have free will. So they automatically carry out their purpose, don't they? I mean, trees were designed to stay in the ground and grow, and that's what they do. They don't walk around. They don't have a choice. Humans, on the other hand, need to gain self-knowledge so they can figure out what their purpose is. They want to know. We need knowledge so we can figure out how to do the right thing in life. Now, Odysseus, for example, learns this on his journey home to his wife. He can't go too high. He can't have too much hubris. He can't be boasting to the Cyclops or he'll be crushed, right? And he can't be too low. He can't be lying around with Circe, turning into a pig, right? He needs to use his reason, right? Remember, he's the man of many ways. He needs to use his reason properly so that he can come to his home, his true home in Ithaca with his wife. Now, what we see in the journey of Odysseus is he starts out, he's in Ithaca, he goes along, he goes down, he has some bad experiences, but he comes back up, doesn't he? He goes from the underworld, and he comes back up, and he comes back home to Ithaca. Now, Macbeth distances himself. He starts up here with this wonderful time, this wonderful manliness that he has, and he just goes down and down and down, right? He kills Duncan, he kills Banquo, he kills Lady Macduff and the kids, and finally he just becomes a ruthless tyrant and dies. He gradually distances himself from his place in the chain of being.